Welcome to the Lumbridge Knight Guide for the Corsair Curse quest. The only items you require for this quest are a spade and a tinderbox, but do not worry if you've forgotten them, because you can pick them up on the quest. Now, there is a bit of a tricky fight in this, which is a level 35 mage. I found this a little bit tricky, even though I'm base 40 in all stats and or range armor. Maybe no food wasn't very wise. Is this the end of my hardcore Iron Man account? Well met, adventurers. I am the Lumbridge Knight, your guide to all things old school RuneScape. Remember to like and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any of the hints, tips, tricks and guides that I'll be bringing you on this channel. Blessings of Saradomin be upon you as we venture forth. Okay, so you start this quest by speaking to Captain Tok, as you can see there. He is just north of Port Sarim. I'm just going to show you on the map there. That's his exact location, south of the farm, just north of Port Sarim. And he's just kind of stood at the crossroads, the T-junction there. And this is the Corsair Curse. So, let's speak to this guy. Also, you can notice there it says level 82 ogres. Do not worry about the ogres, they really don't feature in the quest. I don't know why it's saying that. I'm wearing ranger armor with an Addy helmet and my mithril scimitar and training shield. This is trying to give me a higher magic defense because there's level 35 mage, as you saw in the intro. He can be a little bit of a handful. You'll have to wait and see if I survive that encounter. So, let's get through the narrative. He's going to say that his crew have been cursed, and he asks for your help to try and lift said curse, or at least find the root of the curse. Then you see a little cutscene where he shows you the dock at Rimington. So Rimington being the village where you did the Witch's Potion quest. I'll pop a little link up to the quest guide for that if you haven't done that quest. Check it out, it's a very easy one. So I'm going to speed the video up as I leg it to Rimington. And find Captain Tok again, click on him. There's another brief bit of narrative, just for clarity. There's the dock on the map. There's another brief bit of narrative where you agree to go with him, and in a second we should see the nice sailing animation that takes us to Corsair Cove. There we go. Once here, remember to take your spade and tinderbox. If you haven't, don't worry, we can pick them up here as we go. Head into Corsair Cove, and it's now I need to speak to the different members of Captain Tok's crew. These are Arson the Thief, Colin, the cabin boy, Nocky the cook, and I'm struggling with this guy's name, Ithio the navigator. So that's the bank, by the way, we've just gone past there. And I've got roofs turned off automatically. As you can see, the different cabins and stuff are there, but they're all on stilts, so you've got to kind of go up, so it's a bit annoying. It's not very clear on the screen. So, I'll click off this in a second. And now let's go speak to the various members of the captain's crew. Okay, so the first person to visit is Ithoi. I'm just going with Ithoi or some derivative for the rest of this, by the way, so I apologise in advance because I've got no idea how you pronounce that name. So apologies to any Ithois out there. And he's going to tell you that he's got loads of experience with curses and that this is definitely a curse. Clearly, we're not convinced because this is a RuneScape quest, and obviously we're going to resolve the curse by the end of this quest. And Ithoi, just because he's got a dodgy name and an eye patch, looks like the most dodgy character going anywhere. So now that we've spoken to him, we can move on to the other members of the crew. And we're going to go speak to the cook first, as he's closest. This is Nocky, the cook. And he's going to tell us that he was fishing for lobsters and he found something which he thinks is the cause of the curse. Now I won't ruin this because typical RuneScape again, there's some great little comedic cutscenes. So when I click through the narrative, hopefully we're going to see the first of said cutscenes. Which I don't want to ruin. Here we go. Here's his flashback. FYI, you've got to keep clicking through the narrative, I think, to keep the thing playing, otherwise you'll just sit there watching him fish lobster. So as you can see, he discovered some sort of weird toy, which was moving of its own accord. Spooky. So he buried it on the beach. Could that be the cause of the curse? That's his theory. Now once you've finished speaking to him and the cutscene's played, exit his hut, and you can see there the other two crew members are in the opposite hut. So we're going to go speak to them as well. So, get up there and go around and speak to Colin the cabin boy. He's also got another interesting cutscene, which is his explanation, or his theory as to why they're cursed. Similarly to Not You the Cooks, you can imagine that these are not really the causes of the curse. So, here's Colin the cabin boy. He was out on Aithoi's balcony with his telescope, and he was using the telescope to have a little look out, and he thinks he saw a mermaid. I think he probably needs to go to Specsavers. Apologies to anyone outside the UK, that's a bit of a UK joke. And he thinks that because he blew kisses, something bad happened to the mermaid, and it's his fault. He's cursed because of what he did to the mermaid. Click through the narrative, play this little cutscene out. Shouldn't take too long. These are essentially the longest bit of the quest, is the initial bit up front talking to the various members of the crew. Also worth noting, there's a piece of cooked meat and a bronze scimitar on the desk. So any hardcore Iron Man accounts like myself might want to pilfer a few bronze scimitars. And also, take my advice, if you haven't brought some food for the battle later, start picking some of these up. I really should have done that because it'll make the battle at the end a lot less dangerous. Again, you have to wait to the end to find out if Aithoi ended my hardcore Iron Man account. Now, speak to Arsene the Thief. Arsene the Thief's going to tell you that I think it said him and the captain went for a little mooch into the ogre's territory. As you can see in the background, there's all the jungle and the vines and everything and the palm trees. That's kind of like ogre territory, and there's a few caves under the ground there full of high-level ogres. So if you're a low-level character, don't worry, you can still go down there and complete the quest, but don't cross certain points. You'll see when we get up there which ones you shouldn't cross, because if you do, the ogres are aggressive and high level and will pretty much kill you very quickly. While we're here, if you look to the left side of the screen, you can see sort of like 3 dead trees. And if you looked left again, there's a palm tree, and what's that beneath the palm tree? That is a spade. So if you've not brought a spade, we're going to need that now. If you haven't brought your spade, go grab that before returning to Aithoi's hut, where we're going to now debunk the cabin boy's theory of what he saw in the telescope. Head back to Aithoi's hut, have a look through the telescope for yourself and see what you see. You'll jump into a little cutscene, and lo and behold, it's an ogre going for a swim, not a mermaid. So that is not the cause of the curse. Following this, we're going to head over to the beach and try and debunk the cook's theory and find out what this strange cursed mechanical toy is. Again, if you haven't got your spade, you need to go over to the palm tree just south of the cabin boy's cabin and pick up the spade. The beach in question is just west of Aithoi's hut. So head over there once you've got your spade. As you can see, there's like a palm tree that's bent over, and there's a little rock. If you can just see that rock in front, if you dig by the rock, exactly where I'm stood, you'll find the clockwork toy. It'll run around and then fall in the water, as you've just seen. Clearly, the clockwork toy is unlikely to have caused a curse. You'll see the video pop around here because I wrong-footed myself and went the wrong way, but you need to return back to Captain Tock at this point, and you need to ask him about what he stole from the ogres, and does he still have the relic that Arsene took. After another bit of narrative with Captain Tock, he'll tell you that he still has the relic, and he will give it to you gladly. As you can see now, it's in my inventory. It's like a white tusky thing. Once we've got this, head over. Due west of Corsair Cove, you'll find like a little sinkhole entrance to the caves where the ogre chiefess lives. Literally, she's called Tess. And you can speak to her in order to return the relic that Arsene stole. Head straight down and do not cross past those rocks if you're low level because you will die. And just speak to Tess. Return the artifact. Tell her you're sorry on Arsene's behalf. She'll laugh and say that he stole an ogre toothpick, so it has no value at all, and that the ogres certainly haven't performed any sort of curse on the crew. So that debunks all three of the crew's theories. Now at this point, we need to return to each member of the crew and tell them that each of their individual theories behind the curse were not the cause. So you can see that I've just gone to the cook and told him that that was just a clockwork toy, it wasn't any sort of demon-possessed idol, and it's gone. Tell Arsene he stole a toothpick, there's no value and the ogres haven't cursed him. And tell Colin the cabin boy that he didn't see a mermaid, he saw an ogre swimming. Again, if you're a Hardcore Iron Man account, you might want to steal the bronze scimitar. And more generally for everyone, if you don't have any food, grabbing another piece of meat for that final battle would be advantageous. Now, something I missed, which I should have mentioned, if you go to Nocky's cabin, that's where you can pick up the tinderbox. So the cook's cabin, where I just was previous, is where you can grab the tinderbox, which we'll need shortly to complete the quest. At this point, speak to Captain Tock, tell him that you've ruled out all their causes. He'll now explain the situation leading up to the curse occurring. Basically, himself and Ithori went off to a parley, and when they returned, the crew was ill from the curse, with Ithori falling ill shortly after, which is why the captain had initially ruled out food as the cause of the curse. So, we need to double check this. So let's go back to the cook, speak to Nocky and check what he cooked, how he cooked it, is there any probable cause. If you haven't got a tinderbox, there you can see it right there. Pick the tinderbox up now because we're going to need it shortly when we go back to Ithori's hut. Speaking to the cook, you can see there clicking through the narrative, he's going to turn around and say that Ithori was the guy who cooked dinner that night. So that's obviously casting a bit of shade on Ithori, because the cook didn't cook it, Ithori did. So did he put something in? Now we're going to talk to Arsene again. Now when we talk to Arsene, Arsene's going to tell us that his brother Francios, let's just say Francis, it's a more logical name, told him that Ithori may be dismissed from Tock's crew as they've settled in the cove. They no longer need a navigator because they're not going to be exploring with their pirate ship anymore. This now gives Ithori a strong motive and paints him as our lead suspect as to the cause of the curse. So let's head back to Aithoi's hut and question him as to the cause. And basically accuse him of poisoning the food and then himself pretending to be sick when he's obviously not. Head back to Aithoi's hut once you've exited that one. Up the stairs. Speed the video up a little bit. And speak to him. And he feigns ignorance, but basically just comes straight out and accuse him. And if he asks why, just say because you know that the captain's thinking of getting rid of him. And he basically, as you can see there, he basically came out and admitted it. You have to exit that conversation or finish it, but then immediately speak to him again and just say, I know you faked the curse. He basically says, yes, why don't you go prove it? Because I'm not moving. As far as everyone else is concerned, I've got the curse as well. Good luck trying to prove it. So we now need to kind of make him give himself away, basically. So if you exit Aithori's hut, go down the stairs, and you can see a big pile of driftwood beneath. Use the tinderbox on the driftwood underneath his cabin. Obviously the heat, the smoke, he's going to have to do something about it. So, whoa, lo and behold, the cursed man has resurrected himself. He's come up and used a water strike to put the fire out while we were hiding somewhere watching. So we know it was him. We now need to tell the captain. So head back over to the jetty. So what we've learned through the course of this quest is we know that Aithoi was going to get dismissed from Tok's crew because they didn't need him anymore. So he created this curse thing to kind of make himself seem a bit more important and more vital to the crew. And the curse thing is he just poisoned the food essentially and then pretended to be sick himself. Speak to the captain now and obviously click through the narrative which explains what I've just said and that essentially Aithori has betrayed them. Captain Tok will be fuming and as you said, just says deal with him, so basically go kill him. So now here comes the moment of truth, the battle with Aithoi. So hightail it across the beach and back to Aithoi's cabin. As soon as you walk up these stairs, he will immediately attack you. Now I haven't got any food in my inventory, which for a hardcore Iron Man account is pretty crazy, but I'm going for it. So here we go. Here's the battle from the start of the video. Do I survive? Or does Aithoi kill me with Earth Strike? Because his other moves don't seem to do any damage, but Earth Strike seems to particularly knock me up. Now you can see I try to wear Ranger armor to increase my magic defense, sort of give me a bit more of an all-round defense rather than a melee defense, because obviously against a magic user it's useless. But he still deals quite a lot of damage. Now I'm like a level 50 character here, because I've trained pretty hard on this account. I'm trying to keep my Iron Man alive as much as possible, so obviously being a higher combat level is advantageous. And he takes more than half my health off, and I was getting a little bit worried. Thankfully, I was able to dispatch him, as you just saw, but he got me down to like below half health. I was getting a little bit nervous. Anyway, so as you can see, Hardcore Iron Man account has survived. Durful Iron lives to fight another day. Return straight to Captain Tok, tell him that you've dealt with Aithoi, and this should be the end of the quest. He'll thank you. Once he's thanked you and the quest's ended, that now means that you can access Corsair Cove just by clicking on the cabin boy in Rimington and sailing back and forth. So there you go, there's your 2 quest points and access to the Corsair Cove facilities, which means there's a bank. So as you can see, Captain Tok's disappeared, it's now the cabin boy. So you can travel back and forth by clicking on the cabin boy. And just before the end of the video, I'll show you the bank. So if you just head directly north from the ship, there's only one hut. You can see Captain Tok sitting in his sort of like king chair there in the cove. And there's the other building, which is the bank. So if you now right click on that and click bank, you can now access the bank as per normal, which is brilliant and very convenient when it comes to making money as a free-to-play player, especially with an Iron Man account. Corsair Cove is home to Ogress warriors, which can be farmed. I will go through all the details in a subsequent video or if it's already available, a link will be popping up in the video description or on the screen. Now, if you have enjoyed this video and it has been at all helpful, please like, subscribe, share and leave a comment. I, the Lumbridge Knight, am at your service. So, until the next time, fare thee well, brave adventurers.